Yo, what's going on, you guys? We're gonna be ranking all 8 Logia double fruits. Now, this could be an overall ranking. So, in a previous video, like a year ago or so, I did it about grinding, but now this is just gonna be overall. So, like grinding, PvP, like is it fun or not, things like that. So, we're gonna start at the bottom. The worst Logia fruit there is in the game. It's smoke. Now, why do I think smoke is the worst Logia fruit in the game? Now, just because I think it's the worst Logia fruit in the game does not mean I think it is the worst overall fruit in the game. It's still Logia. So with smoke, you still get the Logia passive, but I have it ranked solo just because honestly, it just provides nothing at all. Like, the moves overall, they're like generally weak and stuff, and it's not the app best for PvP. So on the PvP scale, smoke does rank pretty low. On the grinding scale, it's okay only because of the Logia effect. However, you wouldn't use, these smoke skills to grind. You would be using just the Logia effect and grinding with your sword. And just like almost every other Logia, smoke has a flight. The flight, it's alright. Like, they changed it so now that it does damage now. So it does damage now, which is pretty cool. However, it's still insanely slow. So that's not very good on the grinding aspect because you gotta go from island to island, things like that, get around. So yeah. And I mean, the only thing smoke kind of does have going for it, like, it does have some crowd control, some stuns and knockups and stuff. But realistically, there's other fruits in this tier list that do it way better. However, for a fruit that's only worth, I believe, 100k, it's not terrible. Not terrible at all. But this is why I rank smoke as the number 8 spot, the worst Logia fruit there is. Moving on to the next one. Alright, next up in the number 7 spot, we have Flame. Now, surprisingly, in my past tier list, I ranked Flame pretty high. I think I ranked it number 3 or number 4, but now I have it down to number 7. So Flame, it's not a terrible fruit. It's better than smoke. The moves are pretty combustible. They have some knockups and some pushbacks. The flight is decently fast. It's faster. I think it's the 4th fastest flight. Behind like Phoenix Light. What else? I can't think of other stuff in my head. It's fast. It's slower than the Ice Walk. But Flame has a decent damage output, which puts it above smoke, which I like a lot. So it's possible for you to put all your points in Devil Fruit and be able to grind with Flame, whereas with smoke you can't really do that. Now, Flame does lack in the PvP aspect. Nobody uses Flame for PvP. Like, there's just, better fruits out there. Now, if someone does use Flame for PvP, they must be insanely good, or they just have nothing else, or like no access to anything else. And then, Flame, it doesn't have any melee attacks, unlike Light or Ice, so it doesn't really have much going for it, except being a very popular fruit in the anime. But yeah. This is why Flame is at the number 7 spot. It just lacks a lot. Even after the rework, I feel like it could have been something more. And then now we're going to move on to the number 6 spot. And in the number 6 spot, we have Sand. Last time in my posts or my tier list before, I had Sand ranked pretty low, but now I actually have it in the number 6 spot. It's not bad. So Sand has a pretty good amount of knockups. Some people use it as a substitute for Dark if they don't have Dark, just because they can use it for combo extending and other stuns, and it does it better than Smoke and Flame. So it just does a better job than Flame and Smoke, especially when it comes to PvP. That's why some people have been using it. It's also an insanely high damage dealer. Like, Sand does an insane amount of damage, and that's why people have been using it. Grinding wise, you can use it to grind as well. The only downside with Sand when it comes to grinding is that it has a lot of knockbacks. So when it comes to like grouping up, NPCs and killing them, they get knocked back a lot not backed a lot and separated, which makes it unpleasant to grind with. However, it's still pretty decent for grinding. But the reason why it's number 6 is because the PvP aspect of it carries the fruit so hard. Like, it is annoying to fight a sand player just because they have so much utility for them and they do high damage. They have endless combos. Like a sand and what was it? I think it was Shisui. Sand and Shisui combo is pretty good. People have been using it for bounty hunting, and if they can bounty hunt with it, it works. But yeah, overall, it's in the number 6 spot. The flight, I think it's the same speed as smoke, slower than flame, but you're not really using flight on sand. You're more in it for about the damage and stuns and knockups. But yeah, I feel like this fruit definitely could have been ranked higher on the list. It's just that the next 5 fruits do the same thing, but better. Or like they give more in other aspects, in grinding and PvP. However, sand, it's pretty mid for grinding, but very good for PvP, which, gives it the number 6 spot. Next up, we have ice. Now, okay. Ice, I think I ranked ice number 3 along with magma last time. However, now I have it ranked at number 5. There are no ties in this tier list. Alright. No ties. Now, ice. Ice is actually pretty good for grinding just because you get this trident, this ice trident whenever you eat the fruit. So if you put points into your devil fruit, you do more damage with the sword. Now, you can't coat the sword in hockey, so it's upsetting. However, it will hit like Logia NPCs and stuff. It's just that it doesn't train your hockey. Now, ice, it's got slows and not slows, freezes, which honestly, it's not bad. Pretty much the only reason why ice is this high up is just because its mobility and its grinding aspect. Like the grinding aspect is so good that it's high up on the list. Whereas its PvP, PvP with ice is absolutely terrible. Like it's actually terrible. Like ice spears doesn't even stun them. Ice surge just knocks them away. They can still move during it. Ice bird is pretty much your only non-ultimate move that stuns them. Whereas your ice age attack, it stuns them, but it's such on a long cooldown that you're only gonna use it once or twice in a fight. Unless your enemy's like running away non-stop. But yeah, in a PvP aspect, ice ranks very low due to his lack of stuns, even though it's an ice fruit. But it's rank 5 just because you get a trident that you can fight NPCs and grind with, just because of that. Which is why I wish I could have ranked it higher, because I actually do like ice. However, I only like in the anime. In the game, it's not the best. But yeah, sadly, I wish I could rank this higher, but it's just not that good. Moving on to the number 4 spot. Alright, in the number 4 spot, we have Magma. Now, Magma and the fruit after this, very debatable on what you guys think. It's your own preference. I just think Magma ranks a bit lower, even though Magma is one of the highest damage dealing fruits in the game, and you have many moves to go along with this. Now, Magma, it's actually very good for grinding, especially after this new rework. Like, check out this Magma clap. Alright, even though I have like no points in my devil fruit, it actually does a high amounts of damage. It's got some great knockups, I think pretty sure it has burn damage as well. Yeah, like the magma residue that's left over on the ground, I'm very sure it leaves burn damage for whenever people walk over it. And like its attacks, it's just so high damage dealing. That's why the high damage, it's so useful in PvP and in grinding. It's better in grinding just because the skills are hard to hit. For example, this magma clap, they have to be close to you, so it's not very reliable in PvP. However, the other attacks kind of do make up for it. And then you have this magma floor attack. Pretty sure you can get hit in this. Yeah, you can get hit in this stage. However, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing to do. However, damn, I'm saying however a lot. Now, Magma Floor, it's an absolutely useless move. You shouldn't even be using it. You can only use it on the floor. You can't use it on the water or to transport anywhere. But it does look cool. And why Magma is in the number 4 spot is just because of his high damage output. You can use this high damage output for literally anything. If you're a creative player and you're able to land your attacks, for example, you can actually use like the Magma Meteors in PvP and get some nice damage. However, it is easily evadable, which is why I think the next fruit after this makes it better than Magma. However, I know people are going to be upset just because Magma, you know, they think it's a really good fruit. It is a good fruit, but it's not better than these next 3. But yeah, I'd give it a between a B and C for PvP. However, grinding, I think it's an A. Yeah, I like the damage on this. It's not bad to grind with. But moving on to the number 3 spot. In the number 3 spot, we have Rumble. Yeah, Rumble. I actually like using Rumble. Honestly, Rumble in PvP is actually pretty good. So you got some nice damage. You have extremely long range with Rumble, which is what I like about it. You can keep your distance and still attack them. Right. And you get a dash. You know how important dashes are in PvP? They are extremely important. Like you have one dash with sword, but then you get another dash with Rumble. Now, why it's number 3? Because, well, dashes have a different purpose than, you know, flights. For example, paw, the paw fruit that Kuma uses, it has a dash as well, which makes it very viable in PvP. Same thing with lightning, it has a lightning dash. Now, according to the other moves, well, moves like Sky Thunder, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, Sky Beam, they're actually really hard to hit just because they're slow. So in PvP, the only thing you'll be using is your Rumble Dragon and your Lightning Dash just for evasions and quick damage. However, the Lightning Bomb is pretty sick. It looks very sick. Like, I'd say Goro Rumble, it is one of the most pleasing fruits to look at. By far, it is one of the most pleasing fruits to look at, along with Magma. But yeah, along with Magma, which is so Goro. Why did I put it above Magma? One, you have a dash, very useful in PvP. You have a low cooldown on your Rumble Dragon that you can spam in PvP as well. You have a pretty much equivalent damage output as well. Rumble practically does the same damage as Magma, which is why I like it better. Now, people like Magma better than Rumble, but I like Rumble better than Magma. Mainly just because the dash sells it for me. And, you know, the fruit, it's good in grinding. High damage, Logia effect, you get dashes to evade the NPCs. You know, you just can't go wrong grinding with Rumble. But enough of that. Let's move to the number 2 spot. And in the number 2 spot, we have Light. Now, in my, you know, old Logia tier list video, I had Light ranked at number 1, but now I have it ranked at number 2. Just because the grinding is still like S tier. Like the moves are amazing, high damage. They don't like move or knock NPCs away. You have literally the fastest flight in the game. Like grinding wise, the fruit is absolutely beautiful and magnificent. PvP wise, it lacks in PvP. Why? Well, you just wouldn't use these moves in PvP. Like, you do have the Lightspeed Destroyer to extend your combos and buy yourself a little time on your cooldowns. However, since this fruit has no, like, crowd control, no stuns, no knockbacks, no nothing, that's what makes it lack in the PvP aspect. And, you know, the damage is mid. Like, it doesn't deal as much damage as, like, Magma or Rumble. However, you know, it is quite some noticeable damage. But yeah. Pretty much in PvP, only thing you'll be using is the Lightspeed Destroyer, and if you're healthy enough, you could use your Flight to try and rise up to the sky and evade enemies, but you'd be considered a runner and people won't like you. So, why Light is number 2 on our list? Just because the grinding is absolutely S tier, and you get a sword for it, so you can use your sword along with the light attacks, which makes it absolutely wonderful for grinding. And it has an incredible range, so you could literally be standing at like the quest NPC and still hit these guys. So yeah, let's move to the number 1 spot. Alright, and in the number 1 spot, you guys guessed it, we have Dark. Now, the awakened form of Dark makes it an absolute beast. This fruit is amazing in PvP. Like you can combo this fruit with so many things and there's so much utility for you to use. For example, this dimensional slash. You can teleport behind your enemies and, you know, what was it? Discombobulate them. Like it makes them confused. Like, oh, where'd you go? You just teleported to them. You have the abyssal darkness. You can bring enemies towards you, grab them towards you, and this pairs so well with other things, such as was it the acidum rifle? People using dark and the acid rifle, they were absolute monsters on servers. Like people hated them. You can literally grab them from so far away and just bring them close. They can't do anything. They can't attack you. And if they get too close, guess what? You can just teleport away. Or you can use your dark hole. You should get stunned. Like fighting against dark users is absolutely annoying. Literally everybody uses dark in PvP, which is why this fruit is absolutely S tier in the PvP aspect. In grinding, it's a little bit weaker in grinding just because, well, the moves aren't really meant for grinding. For example, this dimensional slash, you wouldn't really use it on a boss or an NPC as it shoots them away and it brings you closer to them. You want to keep your distance when you grind. However, the abyssal darkness is good for bringing them, like gathering up. You know, if you're trying to round up like 3 NPCs together, you can use abyssal darkness to group them up and hit them all with one attack, such as your endless hole. But yeah, damage wise, the fruit's not really used for its damage, which is, you know, the grinding. It decreases the scaling a little bit. However, it's still number 1 just because the PvP is so good. Like the combos and, you know, partnerings and pairs you can do with Dark, absolutely wonderful. And like I was talking about with Rumble, Dark has a dash. It's called Ghastly Step. Now dashes, like I said before, super important in PvP. Literally, it'll make or break your fight. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about these Logia fruits. Like, you know, top 3, we have Dark at the number 1 spot, we have Light at the number 2 spot, and in the 3rd tier spot, we have Rumble. Now, this is purely based off of my opinion and how I view it as a PvP fruit and a grinding fruit. So, you know, if you like a fruit and think it's better or like think my scaling is wrong or not, honestly, educate me. Because as you guys can see, it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about, because I don't. However, I've used all these fruits for a while, so I kind of understand the grinding aspect. However, the PvP aspect, I only understand things like Dark and Light and, you know, Rumble, Magma, just because I've actually used them. And I can say for sure, Dark is the best Logia in the game, without a doubt. So, I hope you guys, you know, this tier list gave you guys a little bit of insight on what fruit you guys want to use. You know, if you want to go for a more grinding fruit, you can go for something such as Light, Rumble, or if you want to go for a PvP fruit, Dark is the way to go. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational for you. You know, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.